With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select
Trophy Chase, Tucson, Arizona.
With the second pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select
Cody Smith, Houston, Texas. The fantasy draft room is now on the clock.
Welcome to the Fantasy Draft Room. I am Chase. With me, as always, is my man Cody. And these are going to be our starts of the week, but we're going to have a fun little twist to how we're going to be doing this. So tell us a little bit about what is going on here.
Yeah, you know, other sites, other shows, they're going to give you their starts of the week. They're going to go through them. They're going to talk about them, and they have a lot of great information. But here we are, the Fantasy Draft Room, and we've got to figure out a way to do it in the form of a draft. That's how we got to do everything here. And we like the competition. We're going to make it a little bit of a competition too. So what we're going to do here every single week, we're going to give you a starts show, a sits show. And for the starts show, we're going to pick one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, and a tight end. But they cannot be, as you see on the right side of your screen, ESPN rankings are going to be pulled up for weekly rankings. The quarterbacks, we can't pick anybody for our starts inside of the top 12. And that is the same for tight end. Running back and wide receiver, you can't pick anybody inside of the top 24. So we're going to make this a little bit deeper. It's not just going to be, oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is a really good start this week. You know, anybody can do that. I can tell you that every single week. But we're going to make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun here. Have some competition with it, too. Probably check back into, you know, who scored the most points if we were to actually make this a fantasy football lineup between the two of us every week. Should be a lot of fun going through all 17 weeks of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just a fun little twist on this. And as you mentioned, you know, it's outside of that top grouping. So maybe you do have some tough sit decisions this week. These are going to be some of the players that we think that are outside of that top group that could pop for us. And on the flip side, we're going to look at the top groupings and see who might flop. And so we're going to look at both of those sides of things. But today is going to be the start show. So Cody, start us off. And who is going to be your QB outside of that top 12?
Yeah, outside the top 12, we got a lot of good guys in here, but we got a lot of guys that I think could pop right outside. I mean, Jared Goff even being at 13, I think is really good. But I'm going to go down the board for the first pick on this show, pretty far down, all the way down to QB 21, Derek Carr with the New Orleans Saints matching up against the divisional opponent Carolina Panthers. Carolina gave up 24 points to the Atlanta Falcons last week. Derek Carr was slicing and dicing with Chris Olave. Even the score wasn't high. I think this could be a game where Derek Carr absolutely balls out with a healthy Chris Olave, a healthy Mike Thomas. The Panthers just lost J.C. Horn, so he's not going to be on the field. Derek Carr is going to be my first pick for quarterback here. That's going to be my start of the week.
I love that one, man. I honestly, like, I started skimming through the list and I totally didn't even see him. There was a couple other names that popped up for me and I was like, oh, I'm just going to stop here. But yeah, the fact that Derek Carr is that low is kind of surprising. So yeah, no, I like that pick. So I'm going to kick off my start of the week for quarterbacks. And this one might surprise some people, but I'm going to go with one Baker Mayfield. They're playing the Chicago Bears. I'm looking at a matchup here where the Chicago defense is mid at best. And so, you know, you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin. It seems like things were clicking for the offense to some extent. And the fact that Baker has no problem running the football, I think you might get some, you know, plus matchup there for Baker Mayfield. So I think he can crack that, you know, 18 to 20 point range and give you, you know, a couple passing touchdowns. Maybe rush one in as well would be a great little stat for the week for him.
Yeah, honestly, Baker Mayfield was going to be my backup guy. Two guys that are pretty far down the board, but Baker being a QB1 last week, I think you could honestly do that again against a, like you said, Bears defense and just general team that is an absolute sieve to offenses. So obviously love that pick, but we only got one quarterback that we're going to do on this show. Now we got to go for two running backs. So on this show, I'm going to start off going first at every position. On the sits show, though, you're going to have the opportunity to pick all of your guys first. We're going to alternate that one each and every week, but keeps it a little bit more on the rails going this way. So I'm going to go right into my running back start of the week. And the first one for me, I know it's going to be a little bit of a tough matchup, but I'm going right back to a guy who showed up pretty well last week, and that's going to be running back Breece Hall, New York Jets running back Breece Hall, RB 26, right outside that 24 cut. But Breece Hall, we saw the explosive playability is still there. All that he needs now are the snaps. This is is his team. I know Dalvin Cook's there. I know that the Cowboys have a good defense, but I love me some Brees Hall.
Yeah, I think it's kind of surprising. I mean, I know the Dallas defense is very, very good, right? Like there's no doubt about it. But Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook being ranked 26 and 28 this week is a little bit surprising after what we saw. Dalvin, I believe, did out touch him by. I mean, it was pretty split in the end. It was a very split backfield as far as touches go. But Brees is going to get enough of a workload, I think, to be efficient and effective. So we'll just see what he does with those touches. Can he have another 83-yard run? That would be exciting for him. So I do love that. That was going to be one of my starts for the week as well. Hard to pass on a guy like Brees being ranked in the 26 range. So my guy actually is going to be another guy who had a monster week, who also has a split backfield. And I'm going to take Tyler Algier here. And some people might be a little surprised because Bijan Robinson has been. He showed out his first week. He got some targets. He got the efficient touches. Like, he did very well week one as well. But Tyler Algier still took a majority of this workload. Like, he still had 15 touches on the ground, scored 2 touchdowns. He still got 3 targets himself. So if he's able to get himself 18, opportunities on the ground or in the passing game combination against the Green Bay Packers team, I'm very interested to see if Tyler Algier can be a high-end RB2 this week.
I definitely think he can. I think he could be for the rest of the year. I don't have
Yeah.
any issues starting as long as the depth is, as long as the starting roster is deep enough. I don't have any problem starting both of those guys each and every week as long as they are healthy, because they're going to run the damn piss out of the ball every single week with that Arthur Smith offense. So I'm going to get into my second one here. This one, though, is where I'm going to go down the board. I was right at the top with the 26th overall, but I'm going down into the 40s for a start of the week here. And it is because of an unfortunate injury that happened last week. J.K. Dobbins going out. I know they have Justice Hill ranked higher. I know he was the one who scored the touchdowns last week, but Gus Edwards is still the 1B in this offense whenever JK is healthy, and I think he's going to be the one to step up this week and have a big game, potentially get into the end zone, maybe take those 2 touchdowns Justice Hill got last week.
And that's the killer for me, because that was going to be my other pick here. And so it makes it really tough, because I mean, I'm with you. I do think that the interesting thing is Justice Hill obviously got the touches right off the rip after J.K. Dobbins went out. But we've seen in years past that this is Gus Edwards' opportunity, unless Monken sees something in Justice Hill. I don't know. I just don't know that that he's going to be able to sustain those types of workload, carries, opportunities, and be that efficient with them. So I do think Gus Edwards is a very good pick here for your RB2 for starts of the week. So I'm going to look at another option. I was looking at the Indianapolis backfield. Zach Moss is back, and I was looking at him and Deion Jackson. But honestly, the other one, he is a little higher up here. He's number 29 on the board, but I'm going to go with Brian Robinson Jr. I had such high hopes for Antonio Gibson coming into this year, giving him an offensive coordinator that hopefully was going to utilize him in the right way. He got put in the doghouse real early week one, and Brian Robinson took that entire backfield over, and it was his, unfortunately. Like, I mean, I'm going to take Brian Robinson and just kind of roll with the fact that he's going to get volume. He's probably going to be an RB2, not really RB1 upside, but if you're really in a stretch for finding a running back to start this week, Brian Robinson is going to be a really good one for you.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get the workload. Gibson just really doesn't seem like he's going to be an integral part of that offense at all, and they really dislike him inside of the building, it seems. So he's going to get the work. Obviously, the Denver matchup isn't a +1 that you're probably looking for to scout out, but in terms of just total touches, he can break one at any point. He's not going to probably break to the house or anything, but he can get those 20-yard chunk plays, because he ain't pulling away from anybody, but he'll definitely get the volume and get the workload to potentially get there. So do love that pick. But we're going to move over now, pull up the wide receivers. And while this is loading up, I'm going to get to my first start of the week. And this one is a little bit, we have some question marks about what's actually going to happen in this offense if the wide receiver 1 is going to play. But I'm going to go with Treylon Burks with a questionable D-hop with a bum ankle, rolled ankle, in a plus matchup against the Charger. Treylon Burks could easily be the one in this offense and taking a bunch of snaps, routes, run, catches, because they're probably going to have to play catch up to a very high-powered Los Angeles Chargers offense.
Dang, that was going to be one of my picks as well. Definitely a huge opportunity ahead of him. But the thing that does worry me is going to be Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill looked washed last week. It was not pretty. So I'm hoping that more reps, more chances for him to throw the ball around. The Chargers defense is a little less stingy. So I'm hoping to see some things out of Ryan Tannehill, because I do love Treylon Burks this week. Love that start. Definitely a good one for me. And it leads me into my guy that I'm going to be going with here. And this one's not really going to be much of a surprise, but Zay Flowers. And I know he had a 45% target share last week. Everything was in his favor. Mark Andrews was out, so that's going to go down. Like, realistically, it's going to come back down to the median. But he looked like the clear number one wide receiver in that offense. And if you're looking for a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 to start on your team, maybe a flex play, Zay Flowers is the guy that I'm looking at as a guy that's going to get opportunity. He had 10 targets last week with 9 receptions, 78 yards. I want to see him get in the end zone. If that happens, we're all going to be losing our minds. So with the Baltimore running game having some question marks, maybe they use Zay Flowers a little bit more in those short routes to get him in open space early, so he can do what he does best, and that's make defenders miss. So Zay Flowers is going to be my start of the week outside that top 24.
Hell yeah. He was on my short list as well. Hopefully he can string together and keep what he had week 1 going into week 2. But now I'm going to go into my wide receiver 2. And I'm actually going to go for the stack. You said my love for Olave, but hey, this Carolina Panthers defense, they can only really focus on one guy. Like I said, losing JC Horn is not a good thing. I think they tried to target him, and that might open up some possibilities for Michael Thomas to be the one in this offense this week. I'm going to take the stack with my quarterback in the starts of the week and go with Michael Thomas.
I love that one. I do. If he's healthy and on the field, I feel like he's a guy that just knows how to get open. Like, Keenan Allen-esque. He can run those short and intermediate routes really well, and he's a big body that Derek Carr can rely on. Chris Olave is very good, no doubt about it. Like, he's a very, very good player, but I do think that Michael Thomas can eat this week. So especially with him being ranked, what is he at? 40?
No, he's in 30s. He's in
30s.
33.
33. Okay. So it's like, being that low, it's like he could have a wide receiver 2 week for himself. So that's going to lead me to my wide receiver 2 this week. And I struggled with this one because you took Treylon. I hate you for that. But 2, they're both on the same team. And like, I want Christian Kirk to be good. I want him to be, the number 2 wide receiver on that team, but I don't think that that's the case. I'm going to start Zay Jones this week. Again, he outsnapped Christian Kirk last week. I have every feeling in my bones that he's going to outsnap him again. It seems like this is just going to be a Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, X and Z receivers, and then you're going to have Christian Kirk in the slot. So if that's the case, Zay Jones had more routes run. I'm just going to take that opportunity against a shoddy Kansas City defense that historically has given up big plays. Maybe they're a little bit better this year, but I am looking forward to seeing Zay Jones have a very big week against Kansas City.
I can't wait until week 3 whenever we get Zay Malone as the wide receiver start of the week to get every Zay in the league who's a wide receiver in your start of the week. Only Zays here on the TFDR show for Chase. Only Zays. No, it is a little bit unfortunate, especially with my love for Christian Kirk. But I do agree it's in a plus primetime matchup with Kansas City Chiefs that they should be able to throw the ball all over the field and have to be playing this run and gun mode. We thought that was going to happen on the Thursday night game though, and that didn't happen at all. So
kidding.
We'll see what is actually in store for Zay Jones, but do not hate the pick at all. It's going to lead us into the tight ends that I now realizing I put one too many spots on here, but we just got that's where the total points is going to go at the very bottom at the end of the week for the graphic. Just thinking ahead accidentally here. It's a beautiful thing. So we're going to throw this one over to the tight end, but I'm going to give you mine as this is loading up, and I'm going to go with Luke Musgrave is going to be my tight end start of the week outside of the top 12 tight ends that we cannot pick. He just barely missed on like a 50-yard reception last week. You don't have Aaron Jones potentially in this offense, and so they're going to lean a little bit more on the wide receiver through the passing game, and the wide receivers are still kind of banged up here. I think that Luke Musgrave could have his breakout into the NFL game this week.
Yeah, he was on my short list as well. I'm very excited for what he can be in this Packers offense. So love the pick. I think Musgrave, he was like, I think he had like a 26% target or air yard share for that Green Bay offense. So like they gave him opportunities to put up some fantasy points. And so if he can bring those down, add that extra 50 yards in there, he's a 100-yard receiver last week. So love that pick for you. Now I'm torn between two other ones here, and I'll just say them both as I, kind of get the opportunity to. So I'm looking at a guy that was the number one tight end on his team last week. We've always talked about him being a very good, solid tight end, but not one that's going to be like a top 6 for fantasy. But that's Hunter Henry. Like Hunter Henry against Miami seems like a great matchup because Miami's going to put up points. It's going to force New England to pass the ball. And the way that we've seen this Bill O'Brien offense, it is a very small sample size. They want to use tight end. So Hunter Henry's the one. The other honorable mention, I am going to go with Hunter Henry, but the other honorable mention was going to be Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst had 7 targets last week. The only challenge I have for this one is the fact that he is going up against the New Orleans defense, who is just historically stingy. Hayden Hurst had 7 targets last week, I believe, and every rookie quarterback loves a dependable tight end, and Hayden Hurst is that for the Carolina Panthers. But I am going to go with Hunter Henry just for that touchdown upside. The fact that I feel like this is going to be a game where Mac Jones has to pass more than they will run, and I think that'll just open up more opportunities for Hunter.
And I'm not giving you Hayden Hurst. I am giving you Hunter Henry, but you were talking about him, so I typed other things than what I was supposed to. But no, I almost went for the full stack in that Carolina and New Orleans Saints game and almost took Hayden Hurst as well. I do still think he has a good game, but I wanted to go a little bit outside of the chalks, and so I went with a Luke Musgrave pick. Do like Hunter Henry, though. Chase, week 1 or week 2, but week 1 of us doing our starts should start. Oh, that's going to be a bad one that we're going to have to battle through the rest of the season there. That's always a rough one. But start, sits, show. This is our starts of the week for week 2. We're going to get the point totals after this week. We're going to go through, tally them up, and maybe we'll have either a running total or a win-loss for between you and me doing these all of the last remaining 17 weeks of the season.
I'm looking at this right now, and I look at your side, and I'm just like, you got Breece Hall, you have Derek Carr, Treylon, like Michael Thomas. Like that looks like a fantasy team that's going to put up points. And I flip sides. I'm like, I just chose Baker Mayfield, Brian Robinson, Zay Jones, and then come on, Hunter Henry, give me 3 tutties this week. Keep me in this one.
There you go. Need to crawl back somewhere. Zay Jones. I'm going to put it on Zay Jones. He's going to have a baller week for you.
I hope so too. But yeah, no, this has been fun. We'll keep tracking these each week, and then we'll flip flop. So I will get to do the sits this week, and then next week I'll get the starts. So this way we can kind of have we get our own advantage each week. So this way it's fair throughout the season.
Yep, sounds great, man. Can't wait to do it for the rest.
Yep, absolutely. Make sure you do like this video, comment down below, let us know your thoughts on some of the starts that are outside of that top 12 for quarterback and tight end, outside of that top 24 for running back and wide receiver. Let us know your thoughts down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for joining us here in the Fantasy Draft.